about it because hello, hey Poppy, hello Carrie, hello May May. We got a lot of questions. I know we never get answers, do we, May May? For sure. We absolutely do. This is Remain Calm. Welcome to my channel. You never know what you're going to get over here. You never know what we're going to be talking about. Isn't that right, CM? We just don't know. So I have a lot of questions. I always do. I have a big mouth. I talk too much. And I think sometimes my questions are pretty good. We are going to talk about this paperwork. We're going to talk about this paperwork. So I am going to commentate on Jody Sue Brown. I am. Better hook my phone up. I better turn my phone on. Hold on, where is it? I got so many freaking cords. A lot of cords. Hold on. Cheesy. Cheesy Weezy. What the heck? Hello, the mouse. Hello, the mouse. All right, we are going to listen to Jody. I am not going to show her stuff. I don't think she likes me right now. Jody, you know, girl, I ain't been hard on you. The link is in the description. The link is in the description. Okay. Jody is giving her opinion about somebody. We will get to who that somebody is. I promise. I promise you. Okay, so maybe I should do Benny's first. Okay, let's do Benny's first. Okay, Benny's more into the paperwork. Okay, we're gonna do Benny first. And Benny's always been cool, and you know, he doesn't have a problem with me using his stuff. At least he didn't before. Hopefully he doesn't now. Of course, his description, his link is in the description also. Give credit where credit's due. I can't even freaking talk. Give credit where credit's due, you whippersnappers. All you whippersnappers out there. All right, so the church lady, as we call her. Hey, thank you, Angelo. Thank you so much. All right, I'll show it to you. This is what the fuss is all about right here. And thank you, Flies, for sending this to me. All right, wait, y'all. I gotta show it to you. Let's show Flies on the coleslaw some love. Let me share her link. Even though she's always like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to share my link, lady. I'm like, yeah, bitch, I do. Okay, let me put her name in there. Flies on the coleslaw. Flies on the coleslaw. Flies on the coleslaw. And don't you swatter away. We got flies on the coleslaw. Flies on the coleslaw. Leave that coleslaw out there and flies will be on it all day, every day. There's her link. Hopefully she'll be able to pop in. Hopefully. Okay, so anywho, this is what got everybody talking. Okay? Now this paperwork, I hate to even show that paperwork. I am sorry. Damn it. I started out not really where I wanted to. All right. I am going to get that paperwork off of there. Only because it's got the 3 boys' name on it. I apologize for that. That wasn't my intention. I wasn't really thinking when I pulled that paperwork up. So I apologize to anybody who thinks that's fucked up. I did that because to me that was fucked up. I did that. Okay, so this paperwork here, all right, seems to be a formal file review. Okay, hold on. Let me get it all. Okay, so basically this is a request for a formal file review, which to me means that this paperwork was given obviously to Candace, right? To file for a review of whatever files that CPS had on them at the time. Now, the investigative number, case number, are all the same. They're all the same on all the paperwork. Now, this is the thing. Okay? I mean, for real. Let's look at some of this stuff. We're not going to look at the order of dismissal. This is on YouTube or Facebook. I'm sorry. Let me see which one this is. Notice of withdrawal and motion to dismiss. Okay, that's the motion to dismiss. Okay, wait. This is the order of dismissal. Now, what's interesting on this order of dismissal, right? She doesn't like you either, May May. It's okay. She'll get over it. Dawn filed an appeal on February 13th, 2025. Like I said, the investigation number, both are the same. Candace filed hers on April 28th, 2025. Why did you wait, Candace? Why did you wait? Why didn't you guys just file them together? Could it have been the paperwork that I showed that says sexual abuse times 3? And the date on that is April of 2024. April of 2024. None of this makes any sense. Now, let's go back. So, this paperwork does not have a date on it. It says date of reports, 4/30/2024. I'm not. We know that they signed the boys over in 2024, right? They signed the boys over in 2024. Does anybody know the specific date on that? When they signed the boys over? I don't think it's in this other paperwork. I don't think it's in this paperwork. Right? An acknowledgement letter was issued on April 28th. This is the order of dismissal. April 28th, 2025. And Dawn and Candace both had their own set of copies of the paperwork. All right, let me get over to Benny. Benny, Benny and the Jets. Ow, with the wind and the wonderful. Oh, Benny, she's a whatever. I can't remember the song. I can't remember. Okay, anywho. Let me get back to you here. Okay, Benny's live is, this is disgustingly disgraceful. Or video, it may be a video. It's about 16 minutes long. And Benny is talking about this paperwork that the church lady decided she was going to grace everybody with it, right? For real. Let's see what Benny says. Good evening, Benny.
Just kind of laying here, about to doze off. And
you guys know why he's in bed all the time? He's got a job. He's working. He's doing really well with his life. And you know what? Good for you, Benny. For real. I truly mean that. Good for you. But some of them girls like to see him laying around, if you know what I mean. I'm just saying. It's true. Bedroom Benny. That's right, Carrie. Who do you want to get to know? Bedroom Benny. That's tacky as hell. Oh, Poppy. Poppy took the fun out of it. She just burst our bubble over here. I wonder if I could get a bunch of subs if I laid around in my bed all day. I'm just sitting here. My hair's all wild. I mean, hey. Oh, shit. Damn it, Remain. You're such a goober. You guys like my hair today? Isn't that lovely? I'm a force to be reckoned with. Watch out. Beauty coming through. Beauty coming through. Y'all feel those beauty vibes coming through that monitor, don't you? I know y'all were staring at your phone. You're like, oh my gosh, we seen something beautiful. I don't hide who I am, okay? I don't need to do that. I really don't. Well, hello, CM. Good to see you too. Okay, back to Benny. Hold on, Benny. I got sidetracked. Benny got me sidetracked. Okay, back to Benny. But Benny in his bed. He cracks me up. You guys, I cannot unhear him talking about a girl that he loved and what they were doing on the phone together. Benny, you shouldn't have told me that. I didn't need to hear that. I cannot unthink it. Every time I see him, that's what I think about. That's kind of perverted. I know, Benny. I won't think about it anymore. Of course, Poppy. He got sexy written all over him. Dang, girl.
I came across a channel that is perpetuating this CPS paperwork. And what it's really boiled down to is it's people's very fundamental lack of knowledge in the law or how to interpret the law.
And I completely agree with that. Let me say this. Remain calm. The paperwork itself. I mean, I got a lot of questions. Because let me tell you something. If someone's being investigated for a crime, whether it be through Child Protective Services or law enforcement, sheriff, whatever, deputy, do right, or whoever, something had to have caused this investigation, right? Something had to cause the investigation to become an investigation. All right? For real. Now, what's kind of interesting is because they are, throwing Candace's paperwork out there. All right? Now, where did the paperwork come from? I know where it started with me. Okay? I know who initiated a conversation that told me about the paperwork to start with. Okay? This individual took and made sure that they had pictures of the paperwork. Where's Dawn's paperwork? Where's Dawn's paperwork? Common sense would say that if Dawn Wells showed up at your house, even though y'all don't like each other, Nana, and you all fight like cats and dogs, he shows up at your house to show you this paperwork. Now, I'm sorry. Remain Calm thinks that's pretty weird. So, the way it was made out to me was that Dawn Wells was showing her his paperwork. But I thought it was weird when I was told, I think he's just mad Candace has got a boyfriend. So the way that it was put out to me to start with was that it was Dawn's paperwork. She allegedly didn't see Candace's paperwork until later. Common sense would tell you, no matter whose paperwork you're shown, there are two people in that household. There are two adults in that household. The paperwork is where basically the paperwork being shown is not the initial fucking paperwork. Okay? Show me the initial CPS paperwork that tells me exactly what you're being investigated for. Okay? The paperwork that we're seeing right now has Candace's name all over it, right? And it may say what she is being investigated for. Okay? It may say that. Where was I going with that? This is substantiated allegations. This is for sexual abuse of the children, the 3 boys. Right? I don't see this stuff just being made up. I'm sorry, I don't. Well, no, May. If you look at it, it's not paperwork for Summer's case. I don't know. The date on the paperwork that says substantiated allegations, the date of report is 4/30/2024. 4/30/2024. And I don't remember if I had it pulled up. I'm looking for the date where Dawn and Candace signed the rights over to the boys. Signed the rights over to the boys. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't talk about other creators. I really don't. I mean, I try not to speak, ill of anybody. It happens. I'm a bitch sometimes. But with White Boy and his wife, I truly do not believe that they tried to fake any paperwork to send to any state agency. Now, I do believe that the possibility that they helped them with this paperwork, and let me tell you guys something, okay? I know it's Dawn and Candace. If it wasn't Dawn and Candace and it was somebody else, y'all probably wouldn't have a problem with it, right? If they were asked to help, then that's totally on them to help or not. Because the way I feel about it, something like that's a little bit different than writing letters to a missing child from her daddy who's sitting in jail. Church lady. Right, church lady. You did that, didn't you? You did, ma'am. You did. But that's because you're just a great gal. So, yes, I could see that. I'm not saying that's what happened. I do not know. Okay, I really don't. But, like I said, what's that paperwork say? Substantiated. Now, because this is the way I am, a substantiated allegation is an accusation or claim that has been investigated and confirmed as having occurred, supported by sufficient evidence, proof, or preponderance of evidence. It indicates that an investigation, such as in a child welfare or employee misconduct, found the claim valid rather than just suspicious. Key aspects of substantiated allegations. Evidence-based means there's enough evidence to verify the claim, often based on a preponderance of evidence. or a 50% plus a feather standard outcome of investigation. It is the formal determination made after an investigation, including interviews and review of documentation, i.e., police reports, medical records, not a criminal conviction. Substantiation, let me say that right. Hey, Chris, how are you? Ooh, it's thundering outside. It's raining again. It's raining again. May. How does Ronnie Lawson know how Summer Wells was treated? I mean, I guess that all of this investigative side of things would have at some point had to go through law enforcement, right? Because I believe it was the DA came out and said, we are waiting for Child Protective Services. I doubt that, May, not around here. NTM, what is up with you? I haven't seen you for a long time. No, May. No, if that's the case, I'm moving. I do not need a bunch of being rained on by a bunch of men. Oh, that sounded really messed up. No, remain calm does not get rained on by men. For real. I'm just saying. Okay, so, not a criminal conviction. Substantiation does not require a criminal conviction. It is typically an administrative decision by a social service agency, employer, or investigators. Distinction from unsubstantiated. An unsubstantiated claim is not proven false. It simply means there was insufficient evidence to either prove or disprove the allegations. So I'm just going to say it. Of course, Don and Candace did not want those boys taking a witness stand against them. Okay? I mean, that's just what I see. I could be wrong.
A lot of times you have to interpret it like one might do in a Bible study, right? You're taking the words that are available to read and you're researching what the actual words mean, like unsubstantiated or this or that.
I did that bit.
Or understanding the way that multiple things all tie together.
Oh, hold on.
Art is something that archives.
Right, in terms of documents, like preliminary initial documents, sort of mid-investigative documents, and then disposition.
This is what I'm saying. The initial paperwork needs to be important. Y'all want to put all this stuff out? The initial paperwork. So, because the paperwork that I see that PG put out is a paper where Candace can appeal. Candace can have it looked into further. Okay. Like I said, Don filed his paperwork a little bit before Candace did. Right? This is, hey, I'm a commentary channel. I give my opinion and I ask a lot of questions, not that they get answered, but you know, it's kind of interesting when you ask a lot of questions. I I truly believe that, you know, Dawn, let me see if I can remember what Dawn said. They were going to make him pay child support, right? They were going to keep taking him back to court. What does that tell y'all right there? If you've done nothing to your children, there's no reason they can keep taking you back to court. Now, another thing that I'll say that I just felt was so weird to me, but I get it. Them specifying that they can be around kids again. All right. I was talking with Blythe about it, and, you know, she was like, well, he couldn't be in the church. Him, you know, possibly not being able to find work, right? Oh, thank you, Karen. Right? So, for sure, it was the way that Dawn and Candace spoke about their boys and loving them and wanting them home, and CPS was taking them and things like that. If CPS did not have a leg to stand on where those children were concerned, why didn't they fight for their children? Right? But then Dawn, you know, he'll say something like, oh, yeah, well, you know, for what, Shirley? For what? What do you want them being put in jail for life for? What? Now, even though I think it's weird that CPS did what they did and said, okay, we're going to let you go do your own thing as long as you sign the boys away. I don't think CPS said sign the boys away, or, you know, we're going to do this and that. I think CPS was like, look, we have enough here. We can make your life miserable. We feel that these boys should not be returned to you. Okay? So if you don't release them to us, we're going to make you pay child support. If they didn't do anything, why wouldn't they pay child support? Right? Now, I get it. Allegedly, other people were paying child support. You know, Dawn was in jail or whatever, right? That's what I say, Poppy. Why weren't they charged? Now, at first, and the reason why I was so big on the dates, because I'm like, wait a minute. If that paperwork was dated 4/30/24, that's April of 2024. That is the date of the report. Right. Excuse me, you guys. Yeah, you're right. Just because it's said on YouTube doesn't mean it's true. Nowhere except for this paperwork has any proof came out that things were happening on that hill with these children. Right? The neglect. How do we know they were neglected? How do we honestly know that these kids were neglected? They had clothes. Hunter even was like, they had a crap load of clothes. Candace was doing laundry all the time. Whether that's true or not, I mean, who knows? right? There's no proof of anything. Just what's been said. Just what has been said. Okay.
Positions, right? How things are disposed. So what I've thought about this evening after seeing all of this disgusting paperwork that people are actually thanking.
How do you know they were emotionally neglected? How do we know that they were emotionally neglected? Now, let me say this. If Candace and Dawn, or even Candace, should go to jail for some type of neglect, who else that hung around on that hill that would leave their child there, would you consider that neglect? Right? If Candace is neglecting her kids, neglecting Summer, what do you think about people who drop their kids off and let them stay for days up there? Right? I'm just saying.
I mean, look at it here. They're thanking this vile, anonymous person for putting out this paperwork. Now, I've spoken via email to the person that has sent the documents and asked her why she thought it would be a great idea to release these documents anywhere, but also to the person it was released to. Now, I think that we see that there was a little bit of a buyer's remorse when I started unpitching this call. That video was made private and it has not been put back up. There's a good reason for that, correct? The very person initially that I spoke to about these CPS papers, she initially tried to offset the conversation by saying she didn't know who PG was.
Ah! Oh, are you talking about the same person I know? The same person that for not just months, for years, for a number of years. Ring, ring, ring. Hey. Hey, girl. Yeah. Right? That's where I heard about the paperwork, Nana. That is exactly where I heard about the paperwork, Nana. Was from you, ma'am. From you. You told me. You took pictures of it. Right? Now, does any of that shit make sense to me? I don't know what you're doing, ma'am. I don't know what you're doing. But, you know, Remain Calm gets a little feisty when I think that somebody thinks that I'm stupid when I'm not stupid. You know, I'm kind of highly intelligent, I think, sometimes. Some people may not agree with that, and I'm good. You don't have to agree with that. Pushing a narrative. And the thing about it was, you only wasn't doing it with me, ma'am. You were doing it with others also. Now, I don't know why you and Candace had your little falling out. I really don't. But it was kind of weird that Candace would just say, Nana is talking about me behind my back and, you know, not being a very good friend right now or whatever, right? Now, I don't know how much convincing it took for the creator who came out and basically said out loud what you had. I don't know if you showed it to her, but you had let her know about that paperwork. And in your defense, Nana, this creator goes live and speaks on it. what upset me, ma'am, is when you came back and tried to convince people that you never said that to start with, when I knew for a fact you said it to me. You said it to me. And no, I don't record phone calls. I don't freaking need to. All right? You either believe me or you don't. I really don't care which one it is. You called me. I didn't call you. Right? You called me to tell me about this paperwork because I asked you. I want to see it. I want to see it. I wouldn't have put it out. I mean, I wouldn't have. I just wouldn't have. If I would have said, look, I'm not going to put this shit out, I wouldn't have put it out. Right? Now, I would have to go back and really look to see exactly when she even called me and told me all that. Right? For sure. And then, I'll tell you what really freaked me the fuck out, when she started hanging around with Bill Shipley. I'm like, what are you doing? Then she's publicly declaring that she is going to make sure that Don Wells goes to jail. Right? Why ain't you worried about Candace's ass going to jail, Nana? Why not? I just seen the paperwork, right? That's the actual abuse. All three boys. Substantiated. I mean, somewhere, there was some truth to something. And not just with one, with all three. Why you been so protective of Candace? Until you got mad at her. Y'all got mad at each other over some silly shit, if you ask me. Candace said you were using her for money. Right? Candace said you were using her for money. Why would Candace say that? Also, you, ma'am, had told me that Candace just gave you every photo that she had of Summer. I don't know if you got them of the boys or not. Absolutely. You did say that to me. Absolutely, you said it to me, Nana. Because I got confused because people were, someone said that they started, what's it called? Collage, what the fuck am I looking for? Where you take the pictures and put them in a book. There's a name for it. I just don't know which one. I can't remember. You said that you had got her started and got her everything she needed. I'm not saying you didn't, but in the very beginning, there was someone else who said that thank you, Fly Scrapbook. Yeah, like a collage. I don't know. Collage is probably weird or whatever. Oh, thanks, Twister. So, you said she gave you everything. That you had everything. All the pictures, everything. Which, personally, not a big deal for me. If Candace chose to do that. But look, if y'all, Squall, thank you, T-Talk. Squall said that she did the scrapbooking stuff with Candace. Right? I mean, For real. She absolutely. A direct line to Candace in the form of her saying to me that, yeah, I told Candace she better take a shower and clean up before she comes to this event, right? I'm like, that's pretty fucked up when you got to tell a grown-ass adult to wash their ass, right? To wash their ass.
But this person was very close with Candace. So if you're very close with Candace, there's no way you don't know who this lady is. Everyone knows who she is.
Everybody knows.
If you have been even the slightest bit tuned in.
But this is the thing. She tried to stay behind the scenes. Okay? She basically worked hard in the community, said she donated a lot of time and money to the community. She was there to help with different events in the community. Nana always went to Summer's vigils. She went to the church. She kind of, I don't know, it seemed like she kind of ran the show. She made a comment that, I don't know, I can't remember what the event was, but after Chris McDonough had made the comment that Tim Mullins was using these events basically for attention for him and Dawn, and she called me about that. You know you did, Nana. You know you did. And I got upset with Chris McDonough and even did a live. And I said, look, Mr. McDonough, I don't think it's fair that you're taking away credit and things for these women who have put their time and effort and into these events for missing children and stuff. But there's a big but there. I actually kind of seen that play out. Hey, Linda, because I get a call. It could have been a text. I ain't even looked at my text. That said that there was an event and Nana herself told Tim Mullins and Dawn that they could not do an interview with the news or anything around that event, that they would have to take it down, take it down the road a little bit or whatever. Take it on the other side of the lawn. Right? And I was like, okay, well, yes, Chris McDonough should have gave you guys credit for what you were, had done or whatever, but I agree with him. But why are they listening to you, Nana? Why? Why are they listening to you? I personally feel that, what is up with you and Ryan? Y'all are new best friends? Y'all are new best friends? Maybe some, not all, maybe some of the creators that befriended you started questioning things, Nana. Started questioning things. Now, I was kind of, there was a woman who was around in the Summer Wells case. She went by Toaster Oven, Toaster something. And I liked her. I didn't have nothing against her. So I could get into that. You know, that goes all the way over to Allison when she was passing away. You know, didn't she take people on tours to Ben Hill? I don't know. I am not going to sit here and say that Toaster didn't do things that made people uncomfortable. I'm not going to say that. I wasn't there. I don't know. But I do believe that some of the questionable things that Toaster was getting called out for might have been, you know, kind of job sourced out, right? Kind of job source, you know, I'm going to give you a job. Drive around here. Keep an eye on this, right?
And we all know who this lady is, and it's there's no good story. There's no comeback story. There's been no rounding the corner to something better. There's been nothing that looks like accountability. None of that stuff, right? So you're thanking this woman for putting out these documents, right? Let me tell you.
Are you looking?
Like I said, I had no intention on putting any documents out, but I don't like people calling me and telling me shit and wanting me to believe everything that they said. Now, excuse me, people, but is anybody else like this? If I'm having a conversation where somebody repeatedly says to me, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I wouldn't lie to you. I would not lie to you, remain calm. I wouldn't. That's how much I think of you, girl. I wouldn't lie to you. Excuse me, you are on my list of keep an eye out because they're probably lying. I'm just saying. That was mean. I shouldn't have been so mean. Sorry.
Actually read my comment that I left to this lady. I don't even know who this lady is. I have no idea. I don't even know why I'm subscribed to it. Probably because at some point they put out something that I thought was interesting or even remotely, just remotely interesting. This was my comment to this lady, or I'm guessing it's a woman. She's thanking PG for putting the paperwork out. So I said, I think it's very damaging in the long run on two different fronts. Releasing the alleged paperworks don't do what she's intending.
And I am going to try to go back in, you guys, and edit that paperwork out. I'm not real good at editing. I mean, unless it's music, and that's easy to take out. But I am going to try. I am. Because I really didn't mean to do that. I really didn't. A group of creators. Sure they did, Lil Dev. Sure they did. They all talk highly of Nana. I'm not saying Nana's a bad person. I am not here to tell people not to like her or like her. But I can tell you my experience with her. I absolutely can. Right? There were other people, Linda, that also hung up flyers that were buddy with Candace. Right?
That intention is to hurt the Wells. These only
Yes, you do, May. You absolutely know who Nana for Life is. You absolutely do, girl.
Historically document their traumas forever via her channel and channels like yours that perpetuate this crap. Lastly, you're congratulating her, only letting her think this behavior is appropriate. I guess I could understand the thinking if it damaged Don or Candace, but it does not. It does not. Listen, we're talking about the same Don that came on here and essentially terrorized his two sisters after making statements publicly and privately and here and there all over the world to different people all over the world. This man with no shame has made these comments about his own sisters, right? So how do we think perpetuating this stuff has any value other than making a legacy like this weirdo's channel or the top weirdo's channel? How do we think that that does anything to shame the Wells? I mean, this paperwork came from the Wells. If she were worried about it, now listen, they're both well versed in the way that YouTubers work.
Yeah,
right.
They are.
I mean,
He's
one
right.
is a YouTuber, so they knew by taking
Mr.
pictures of these alleged paperworks and then sending them to someone they met from the internet that it was going to turn out bad.
No. Hang on. Hang on, guys. Chad just texted me. Okay. Sorry about that. There were a lot of people that befriended them. Dawn and Candace know exactly what they were doing. Right? Why would Dawn show up at Nana for Lives and take that paperwork to her? Now, was it Candace's paperwork he took? Now it sounds like it to me, because I damn sure ain't seen a copy of anything about Dawn Wells and what they were investigating. We can only assume that Candace and Dawn both were being looked at for the exact same thing. We can only assume that, right? For sure. And I mean, you can't blame CPS for this paperwork getting out. I do not believe CPS released this paperwork to anybody. It was Candace and Dawn. Candace and Dawn.
It was going to turn out real bad, very bad, in terms of the leaking of the documents, right? Now, I know because these people are 1 or 2D at the most, right? Very lineal thinkers, right? Can't think, on any sort of diagonal or any, like they are just looking at what's ahead of them. They think by putting out this information that it hurts Don and Candace Wells.
Yeah, but why? Why? I think that was the problem, right? Because I wasn't fooled. I assume Dawn was served as well. Yes. Had both names separately. And how we know that is because of this paperwork. We have an order of dismissal and okay, wait, is that the same thing? Did I have the same thing pulled up twice? Yeah, I guess I have the same thing pulled up twice. Why remain? Did you have that pulled up twice? Okay, let's read this order of dismissal real quick. Hang on. Here we go. Notice to withdraw and motion to dismiss. This was on April 21st, 2025. Okay. Candace filed her paperwork What did I say? April 28th, 2025 is what they're saying here. Dawn filed in February. An appeal was filed with the Administrative Procedures Division of the DCS, in which appellant requested an administrative hearing concerning his substantiated for child abuse or child neglect regarding this investigation number. Excuse me. Why is the sexual abuse not on here? Why isn't that on here? If Candace had paperwork that said sexual abuse, all 3 boys, date of reports, April 30th, 2024. Why isn't that on here? Right? It's not even in the order of dismissal. Make that make sense? Am I looking at this right or am I fucking not? I don't know, Remain. I don't know. You asked too many freaking questions, lady. Why wouldn't that have been on the dismissal papers? I don't know.
And it does not. It does not. And the fact that people are clipping this information and reposting it, what it definitely is doing is it is putting out these alleged traumas that have later been unsubstantiated, right? I'm not like...
That's true. I mean, we know that they got this paperwork saying that they could be around kids and the neglect, abuse was unsubstantiated. But I want to know if they used the verbiage on that paper as sexual abuse. I want to freaking know why it is not worded that way in this dismissal paperwork. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I seen Curse pop in. Constance Sue. Sorry, I missed some people popping in. No, Amy's brownies. No, it was given to her much, much later. Right? I thought didn't I see Curse pop in? I don't know where she went. Where'd you go? Hey, I wanted to let you guys know too, and I'm sure she's not going to mind me saying, if Curse goes live and she invites me over there, we're going to go over there and have a conversation. And I look forward to it, if she decides to do it. Okay.
Refuse to go on this internet and pull up the appeal dismissals for both Don and Candace.
Oh, there she is.
And then this paperwork that everybody's flinging around. I shouldn't say everybody because that means everybody. And it's not. It's a few selected weirdos. And let me tell you what. They're grabbing onto this paperwork like it's some sort of gem. It's a treasure that they've dug and dug and dug and dug for. Let me tell you what.
Yeah, look, I don't think it was so much the paperwork for me. It was how it became known to me, right? Yeah, we know he's nasty, but no. Well, yeah, I figure, well, I mean, we all kind of already know. Hey, little Meech, we already kind of know that they gave up the boys so they wouldn't have to keep going back to court. Whatever they had on Dawn and Candace, they let them know, Don Wells said, that they would keep bringing him back to court. They would keep bringing him back to court. They were going to make him pay all the court costs, and they were going to make him pay child support. And he didn't feel that he should put the boys in a position where they had to testify against their parents. Right? So, I mean, I commend him for signing the boys over. I'm sure it wasn't easy, no matter what had been going on at 110. I'm sure it wasn't easy. And I kind of believe Don Wells, too, when he says that they didn't even get a slap on the wrist, Twister. They didn't even get a slap on the wrist at all. No. Not at all. I didn't see him getting a slap on the wrist. Maybe other people thought so, but...
This paperwork has been circulated for quite some time. Let's be very clear about that. This paperwork has been circulated for quite some time, and we're not here to believe that the person I know that this information came from just or gave it to PG some time ago. PG, as soon as she got that paperwork yesterday, was already filling out a scheduler for a live stream. She didn't hold this paperwork for any amount of time. That being said, the number of people...
And why? Why did it take so long for PG to get it? I mean, I didn't have a copy of it, but I knew all about it. I knew all about it a while back. For sure. That is when the paperwork first surfaced. Now, I don't know when or who else actually received the paperwork. Because, see, I was never at that level, right? I wasn't at the, hey, let's give this to Remain Calm and, you know, let her do her thing with it. I was never at that level. When I tell you guys, a lot of people in the Summer Wells case, no, right? Remain Calm was the last person. Just give Remain Calm a little bit, and then we'll leave her hanging, right? We'll leave her hanging with, oh, there's not a documentary. Oh, there should be a documentary to, yes, there is going to be a documentary in one phone call in 1 freaking second. Right? And I'm like, kind of weird. I don't give a crap about anybody doing a documentary. Please don't get me twisted over here. I really don't. It's the way that they all, in a weird fucking way, would say shit to try to make me feel bad. Right? I don't need anybody coming into my comments going, somebody said I tried to ask her for her notes. Why would I do that? And I'm like, girl, why would you do that? I don't talk to you. I don't watch your channel. I really don't care what you got to say. But I've always been nice. Y'all need some nice pills around here. Make you nice. Right? How could they have used this, Linda? And Linda, I'm not coming for you, honey, okay? I get a little feisty over this shit. What could they have used in any of this shit that might have helped find Summer. Really. Well, my thing is, I always tried, if I felt something needed to be put out, I would put it out. But I wasn't going to put out no fucking nonsense. I didn't give a shit that Nana for Life and Dawn Wells didn't like each other. Okay? I didn't care about that. Didn't have shit to do with me at all. I gave my opinion on it. It doesn't look good that someone is publicly going around saying that they're going to make sure they see somebody put in jail. Now, she doesn't want to say why she wants him put in jail or what she wants him put in jail for, but in a court of law, why? What? Right? Twister, you have to look at it like this too. Or Twister, Carrie, you have to look at it like this. If you think somebody is bullshitting on their channel, you have the right not to watch them anymore. Okay? You have the right not to watch them anymore. There are many people that I did not watch that was covering Summer Wells' case. Not because I was a bitch and I didn't like them or whatever. It's just that things that they were putting out, things that they were talking about, to me, had nothing to do with Summer. Had nothing to do with Summer. That's like this paperwork. What can we take from seeing this paperwork? That if Summer was around, guess what? Would her name have been on that paperwork also? Right? Aw, I love you over here, Carrie. I hope you don't think I'm coming for you today. I love when you guys have conversations with me. That's what I've always said, Little Meech, from day one. I tried to make people understand. There is a difference between it being about the Summer Wells case and local people fighting with each other, okay? That there's a difference there, right? Let me ask you guys this. Okay, so Poppy said, I'm going to start pinning comments. I'm sorry, you guys, I don't pin a lot of comments. You would think after years that Ellie would ask for help or have some kind of interrogation of the parents again. So, after all this time, how do we know? How do we know law enforcement hasn't told them, you know, if you think of anything, come back and let us know? I don't think Dawn and Candace went back and ever told law enforcement anything, because this is why. They just seem like the type of people that they are, you know, they know, how do I put this? Dawn and Candace seem to know a lot of shady people. And I will use this again. I've used it a couple times the last couple days. A great example of that is Don Wells, right? I wanted Chase to come talk to me before TBI showed up at his house. Well, number one, why would TBI go into Chase's house? Because y'all threatened to beat each other up a few years before, right? Why would TBI need to go there? Right? Well, Haley Cummins still hasn't been found. That is a sad case. I think I've talked about that case before. That is a really sad case.
Well, just that I've been able to find out have this paperwork.
Lawson in the beginning said the parents were cooperative, Amy. The first thing he said was the parents were cooperating. When he decided to say that they lawyered up, which you got to give him credit, was pretty smart, because what happened? Grandma came out and talked, didn't she? Grandma, first time, came out and talked, right? Candace wrote a little letter, you know, so some kind of code shit for Dawn sitting in jail. I ain't got a lawyer, baby. Don't believe him, baby. I ain't got a lawyer, right? Don wasn't cooperating while he was in the jail. For sure. That's right. Oh, I don't know, May. I'm sure she's still around. I am sure she's still around.
They were human enough and cared enough about the boys. See, this is the thing. They cared enough to not publish these documents. What you understand is that someone who will corner the market, like PG, someone who will try to corner an invisible market and create an army full of weirdos that hope and pray for sexual assault on children.
Vanna. I would need to see proof of that. Because we're talking about dismissal paperwork. You are talking about the dismissal paperwork. Okay, where was I?
Children, right? Want this stuff out there. And I'll tell you why. It's only Summer's army, right? It's not the boys' army. It's not the Wells children's army. So because it's only Summer's army over there, the boys, shoot, they're enemies of the state now, right? They're enemies of PG's. Let's do every single thing that we can.
Look, I ain't gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Okay, for real. I mean, he's making a good point, for sure.
And to ensure
the boys each, from my understanding, each had their own lawyer. The boys each had their own lawyer. Or should have, right? Once again, just because somebody said it on YouTube, no matter how religious the cursing creator, it doesn't make it true. Ha ha ha. The cursing creator. Girl, I thought you was talking about me there for a minute.
That down the road, these boys, when they start having children, this whole ugly alleged family dynamic can be rehashed for generations to come. Fine job, ladies. Meanwhile, Don and Candace are sitting in their house and they don't give a damn. They don't care you're
No.
posting this. There's even a probability they don't even know you've published this. If they do you think they care? Either one of them may have shown even the smallest sliver of concern with their each respectively first bunch of kids that got taken by children's services. You're dealing with professional losers now. If you think this stuff bothers Don and Candace to be public, you are wildly misled.
And how messed up is that there are these papers out here stating that. Now, I'll go back. I knew about these papers. I knew about the papers, but I never seen receipts on it. Never. Now, allegedly, other creators did see the receipts. Okay? I never did see the receipts. That's why I kept stating that I want to see the paperwork. And I did not care to see the order of dismissal or the notice of withdrawal and motion to dismiss, right? And like I might add, this is kind of odd because on this paperwork, this is submitted by someone who, Associate General Counsel, State of Tennessee. I don't know what the bottom of that says. I don't have the whole thing. Candace's Associate General Counsel, State of Tennessee, Department of Children's Services, Johnson City. But it doesn't have it does not have a receipt date on it by DCF. Why? Okay. Well, it's the same docket and everything. Give me 1 second, you guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, I had my air conditioner on. I had to turn it off. My legs are getting cold. My cute legs are getting cold. They sure are. Thank you, May May. Why not, Twister? So, This only says child abuse and child neglect. Okay. So why doesn't it say the SA? Why doesn't any of this paperwork refer to the SA? You would think it would. Child abuse, child neglect. SA, right? I don't see it. Hey, if anybody's got that paperwork, you might as well show it. For real. I mean, the only way that I could see any charges being brought against Don and Candace would be if Summer is found and Summer talks about maybe things prior to her going missing that happened. Even if Summer is found not on this earth anymore, it would depend on where they find her. If she's found out in the woods, it's going to be hard to tell it's what happened, right? Would they just pay a fine? No, they didn't even have to pay a fine. They didn't even have to pay a fine. They just signed them over. They just signed them over. And like I said, the way that Dawn talked about loving the boys and Candace loved the boys, and that's all she wanted. That is all she wanted, was her boys back and for Summer to come home. But that's not what we have seen played out, right? Are you buffering? I'm not buffering. Is it storming there, Linda?
Wildly. You have drank your own Kool-Aid at this point. And if you can't see that this paperwork being out, that it does nothing to Don and Candace, it does not help Summer, it does not help the boys, it only hurts them. If you can sleep good at night putting that paperwork up.
The paperwork was put out because they got pissed off at each other. That's what people need to realize. They got pissed off at each other. That's how the paperwork was put out. For real. That's what I seen anyway. That's what I was in tune to behind the scenes of narrative pushers. Yeah, narrative pushers. They are addicted to narratives. They're the narrative pushers, right?
Then you're not in Summer's army. I can tell you that now.
If you need something to...
Excuse me. Well, I'm sorry, but I've never considered myself to really be in Summer's army. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, girl. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. In the paperwork from Facebook, Find Summer Wells, it says they can be around kids. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Why were not the SA claims listed? Why were they not listed in the dismissal paperwork? Inquiring minds want to know. Oh, that's good, Amy's. I mean, for real.
If you are doing anything like thanking her or you're slinging the documents around, you're a POS. Because I could, as easily as any of you, jump on the bandwagon and post all the documents and run down how the 2 dismissals affect the initial claims. Those are not charges. Those are what were called substantiated claims. Now,
Okay, Benny, come on. Don't lower the meaning of that, sir. Okay? For real, don't. Now, before, this is just my opinion. Before, I'm sorry, Benny, before you turned over a new leaf, your ass would have been all over that. Okay? That's my opinion. You would have been all over that. Just a feeling. Be honest about it. Yeah, if it wasn't dismissed, then they couldn't be around kids. And look, I'm not saying anything. All I want to know is if this essay paperwork from April 2024 is substantiated, why isn't it in the dismissal paperwork? Oh, go, Andrea. I don't want to hear that shit. What do you mean? Come out in the wash? There ain't no fucking wash in it. There ain't no wash in the shit. How do you think? What do you mean it's going to come out in the wash? The shit's already been raw. It's been washed. They're just now folding it. They're folding it. Not folding it. They're folding it. For real. Because what does the paperwork mean? Not a fucking thing. It was all dismissed. Benny's right about that. What was the purpose of the paperwork being put out? I mean, you don't fucking call creators on the phone or Facebook them, whatever, and tell them about this paperwork that was brought to your house by Don Wells that you don't like. Y'all don't like each other. Right? But that's okay, because he likes you enough to show up at your fucking house, right? You are claiming that you're going to get this guy thrown in jail. Excuse me, guys, I got a call. You're going to get this guy thrown in jail. But when he knocked on your door, you were like, come on in here, Dawn. Show me what you got, right? Don't make no sense. But then again, I mean, I kind of felt that way with Jody Sue, too. You know, her talking about right before Andy left her, you know, weird shit. Oh. The only thing I can figure, Poppy, is they were being investigated. They were being investigated for abuse, neglect, and obviously we know Candace was being looked at for sexual assault or abuse. I'm sorry, not assault, abuse. Okay. We don't know if it says that on Dawn's. Right? And I'll just say this. Anybody who has helped the Wells in any way, shape, or form, you know, make up paperwork, that's not a good thing. That is just not a good thing. Hey, Patty, because that kind of says what? That y'all knew about this paperwork. Y'all knew what they were being investigated for. And y'all were okay with an investigation being done into things that was said to have been done to the children. Now, sorry, but over here, I don't want people who fucking touches kids over here. I don't even want people who's been accused of touching kids over here. But that's just me. That's my channel, and I will always be that way. Now, do I go around and investigate everybody? No, I don't. Okay? But if it comes to my attention, then I have to question it, right?
Now, the appeal paperwork from April 2025, it tells you it's a moot point, which means that it isn't up for discussion.
Yeah.
It's not debatable.
Yes.
And that they have walked back the charges, or not the charges, they've walked back the claims of an assault.
Hold on. Charges being moot means a legal case or accusation has lost its practical significance, often because the dispute has already been resolved or the issue no longer exists, making a court ruling pointless. So they signed the boys away. They signed the boys away. Like I said. So, of course, any charges are going to be moot. Because there's nothing there to fight about anymore. There's no reason for lawyers to go into court with those 3 children to fight against their own parents. It's not there anymore. They were signed over, right? They were signed over. So this is just me. I'm the one saying this, not anybody else. Does anybody think there might have been some truth to what was being investigated? Because they did sign their boys over. And guess what? That was the way that they knew that it would stop, right? They knew it would stop. We don't have the boys anymore, so, hey, we'll sign the boys over. Just don't charge us with anything. Right? Wow. So, I don't know. You guys can think however you want to think about that. For real. Well, I agree. I agree. Like me some YouTube. I do agree. That's why I couldn't believe that you're investigating someone for sexual abuse, but then you agree and put it in writing that they're allowed to be around children. But I do have to say, nobody needs to come for me. There is no evidence. There's no evidence that the children were being hurt. There's no evidence they were being neglected. There's no evidence. There is no evidence. No matter what we believe about Don Wells, we have no evidence that he was doing inappropriate things to Summer. We have no evidence that any of the children was being abused. It's not there. We don't have it. We never have. We never have.
They've essentially leaving it wide open to where if the boys, I suppose, hadn't been adopted, there really wouldn't be anything keeping the boys from seeing Don and Candace other than them terminating their own parental rights.
Right.
If you're also naive enough to think, oh, well, they didn't send these to the DA because Don and Candace, they signed off on their kids. Okay, right? Okay, there's an initial claim. They're gonna, or they didn't want to put the boys here or there because they didn't want to re-traumatize them. I understand how someone could think that. But are you meaning to tell me that they have their opportunity to fry Don and Candace, right? You have a scenario where one of them writes a letter to a judge asking to not be placed back there. And you think they're just going to allow a cycle of abuse of that nature to go unpunished? You could think that. But then you go back to the appeal and the appeals paperwork and the withdrawal of the substantiated claim, right? Do you know what substantiated means?
Yes.
Right? Let's go.
I just don't I am not a Don and Candace fan. I'm really not. Hey, Sage. But I can't, in all honesty, and never have said that they're guilty of doing anything to their kids or they're guilty of doing anything to Summer. And don't come for me. But if you really look at like the time frame with Candace, she was taking them kids. She was doing a lot with those kids. Right? They were taking off on the weekends and doing this and that. And don't forget, Dawn said, I worked all the time. A lot of the pictures that Candace has with the kids and stuff, Dawn's not in those pictures. I know, Poppy. I'll show that to you here in a minute. Just for you, Poppy. I'll show you that.
Go unsubstantiated.
Okay, Benny. I already did that.
It describes claims, rumors, or reports that lack factual backing. Common synonyms include unfounded, unconfirmed, unsupported, and baseless. Such claims are frequently found in gossip or legally where a lack of proof.
Okay, so they were being investigated for everything because of rumors, right? Because of rumors, not because of anything the boy says, right? Don himself said, they told me they would keep bringing me back to court. They would have reasons to keep bringing him back to court, right? For what, Twister? Why would they have wanted you there for that? For real. Why would they have wanted you there for that? To do what? So they already knew that that was going to happen? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that that was set up and they knew it was going to happen and that you were invited to the party? Is that what you're saying? What do you mean, IDK? I don't know. Who asked you to be there? I'm being nosy. I want to know who asked you to be there. Now, it's very important that you answer that question truthfully and honestly. Who said, hey, Twister, my man, Molly is going to show up at 110 Ben Hill Road. She going to have JLR with her and that bullhorn Betty lady that makes a lot of noise, blowing into a horn. Why don't you come and be here for it? Did you meet Benny Keys, Twister? Did you meet Benny Keys? Benny was there, right? Benny was there, right? I mean, you come in my chat and you say something that I'm going to question. So Chase wanted you there. You never met Benny, but Chase wanted you there, which tells me that Benny knew of Chase. Let's see, when was Benny there? Was Benny there around? When was Benny there? When this happened? This is for you, Poppy. And you guys don't be mean to Benny or nothing, okay? I'm not even mean to Benny. Hold on. This is one of my favorites too. Let me see if I can find it. It's way down there. Way down there. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Hold on. I know it's here. I'm just gotta find it. I haven't been through these clips for freaking ever. Forever and ever. Here we got it. All right, here you guys go. Without further ado, here you go, Poppy. This is for you, girl. Oh, wait a minute. Let me start. Oh, it did start at the beginning. This is Midnight Madness 25.
Get that ass whooped.
You ready to get that ass whooped?
On the property, bro. Let me break your fucking face. God damn, you're fatter in real life than I thought. Holy shit. You look like a spark. Why your hands shaking, bro? You scared? You look scared. You look shook. Hey, bro, you're obstructing the road, man. This is against the law. You got to move the fuck around. Get that bear spray in that paper. Bring your fat ass on here, bitch. I wish you would.
You sure about that?
Bring your motherfucking ass on here, too. One toe.
So, Twister, you're saying that Chase knew that this was going to happen. And Chase was like, hey, man, why don't you show up at 110? There's some shit getting ready to go down. Right? Oh, is that when they had the queso on December 7th? Yeah, I knew they were at dinner together. They was having quesos together. Getting to know you. Getting to know all about you. Right? It's weird to me that two grown men threaten to beat each other up, and one of their daughters goes missing. They don't like each other, but the guy who threatened to beat you up that you didn't like, you decided was a good guy. And you were just going to invite him right on in to your missing daughter's, I don't want to say investigation, but right? Thank you, H. I appreciate you.
Toe, why your hand shaking like that, bro? Get a good look. See, you gonna sue me? Why your hand shaking? You came to get that ass whooped. Put a white toe on the property, bro. Let me break your fucking face.
But my opinion, that's why Benny was there. Okay. I've seen Molly camera, but not this. Oh, well, there you are, Lorianne. See, let me put it like this. And look, I'm not talking shit about Benny. A lot of people have the same opinions I do, right? The thing about it is, you, if you really want to, go to Google search bar and put in Benny Keys. Okay? Go back and do some research into a couple of cases and things that Benny had, I'll say, inserted itself into. And I truly think that, this is just me, there were a lot of dollar signs involved. Okay? Because Doug of No Thanks, he already knew of Benny, right? From a different case. And so you can go back and look into all that and make your own determination about Benny. For real. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat things, because I seen Benny do some really messed up stuff. That makes it very hard for me sometimes to hear him speak about creators or, you know, talk about certain things when he had either done the same, was associated with these creators, or even did worse. Okay? But then I'm an adult. I don't have to watch it. If I don't like what he's saying, I don't have to watch it. All right, you guys. Hold on to your hats. This is Jody Sue. Jody Sue is speaking on a person she doesn't like. I'm not going to show the whole thing. Like I said, I am a commentary channel over here. So, Jody's not happy. You're going to know who she's not happy with. Okay? Here we go. Link is in the description. Hold on. Here we go.
All right, guys. I'm gonna make this quick, and look. I ain't trying to be reactionary, but catching that comment today or two by Nana / Kimberly, there is just, it's too much. It makes me want to vomit. scream, cry, and flames come out my ears.
There was a comment that Nana for Life left, and I think she shows it. If she shows it, I'll show it to you guys.
I am so sick of this woman, and I've known for years, like many of y'all have, how embedded, how inserted, how destructive of a fucking force she is.
I have to agree. When you have someone from the area that has kind of embedded themselves with a lot of different creators on YouTube, and they're pushing a narrative, not just one narrative. There were quite a few narratives that were kind of being pushed over the years, right? And to me, it was kind of like, hey, I have this narrative I want to push. I'm going to get a hold of all these creators, and somebody's bound to bite, right? Somebody's bound to bite and take that information and run all over with it, right?
Especially with the crew in tow, and the more and more bullshit they do. I know what kind of, I mean, y'all just don't even, I mean, I'm telling you publicly, you don't even know the destruction this woman has caused. Everyone.
Now, I think that Nana has pretty much associated herself with specific creators. Not saying that she hasn't talked to creators who, you know, aren't hanging out with these creators that she was friends with, but yeah. Also, what I remember about these creators that Nana intuned herself with, they were pro Andy Bernard. They were pro Andy Bernard.
One and everything, and Summer's case, y'all have no fucking clue.
Yeah, we don't.
No fucking clue.
Because I only know what I know. And and let me tell you, what I do know and what I've seen, if there are things that I have no clue about, and I do believe Jody, I ain't got a clue about some of them, absolutely, stuff is really messed up.
She ain't Summer's saint. She ain't a fucking angel. She ain't a damn any, like, this woman is the fucking devil.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't tell you why on earth this woman inserted herself in and around everything instantly as soon as Summer vanished.
Yes.
I find it creepy and weird, and those who know her or interacted with her throughout all this, especially in the end, will tell you how creepy and fucking weird she is, and the way in which she talks about the children and everything else. The woman is fucking psycho.
Okay, so look, I'm not gonna call her psycho. I'm not gonna do that. We do know that she stated that she had to go to therapy because of Summer's case. Now, I'm not gonna dog on anybody who goes to therapy. All right, nothing wrong with it. Take your asses to therapy if you need to. I mean, you can pay me and I'll be your therapist. All right, I'll be your therapist. But you do have to pay me a little bit because YouTube unmonetized me. I'm not monetized anymore. I'm just playing. All right, I'm just messing. Okay, so I'm not going to call her psycho, but if it would seem to me, if you've inserted yourself into anything that has to do with children, period, whether they be missing, child abuse cases, SA, you know, anything like that. Why would you keep going back? If what you have uncovered or what you have learned in almost 5 years has damaged you mentally so bad that you have to seek therapy, why would you go specifically to the home of the father and mother of a missing child that, now at one point y'all were kumbaya, then y'all had a falling out and you got mad at each other, okay? Why would you go there? Why would you do things to instigate situations with an individual that you're freaking saying you had to get therapy? Didn't make no sense to me, but she got old Bill Shipley to be her freaking security guard. I think a lot of things were distraction, honestly. I think a lot of things were being done to distract. And once I look, I haven't went back and looked at text or nothing or anything like that, but I'm sure that when and if I do that, that there is going to be things going on that certain things were said to me to distract from, you know, something that was happening for real.
Okay? Psycho. Now, I just can't. When you know that what's coming out right now in paper form, okay, and shouldn't be, and it's got to be illegal to be, okay, and I figured this is what, you know, and
I don't know if putting that paperwork out is illegal or not. You know, I really don't. I like Jody. Yeah, she has been through it. Jody has been through it. She really has. I mean, I get feisty. I mean, I kind of went off on her or whatever. I heard she did the same, that she did a live and talked about Remain Calm. I have not watched it. I don't need to. I heard that something that I was showing over here on my channel, she put it out totally different than the context of what I was even talking about or doing. So I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I am.
The movements of some of the group. But anyway, obviously they've been hint winking and just, they all were so excited. You remember their smiling faces and one-upsmanship of Lisa Kay and Ryan and all of them just yeah, running over one another to hint and wink at who knew first and chasing the group separating and all this bullshit. But they wanted to make sure the public knew they knew something big in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, but they were all aware and they just can't help it. No, they just
Yep.
wanted to Pomeranian piss on themselves, cheese wrapper style, right? It's been pretty clear what they knew. Obviously, shit has come out. Jinkies took the hit at one point.
Jinkies did take the hit. I wasn't going to say Jinkies' name. I don't have anything against Jinkies. you know, I've watched her every once in a while. But yes, this is just the way I felt, was that when the initial story came out about this paperwork, was because Nana got in Jinky's ear, and when Candace started talking shit about Nana, Jinky's is the one who came out with that stuff. Okay? So
that was sort of swept away, all the things, right? But Nana and all them talk about it openly on these lives, have for months now. But now they're like,
Yep.
oh gosh, the paperwork.
Yeah.
Really? You've talked about it openly
yes, I agree, Jody.
everywhere.
Yep.
So what's the difference then, right?
Yeah.
No, the difference is the paperwork is a crime coming out. Y'all just can't be doing shit like that. Right?
Well,
Just
they
like
can
you weren't
and they
supposed to be
did.
doing it with our paperwork and shit featuring a minor, then Monster knew it. Just like all the other illegal shit you've done around the children, knowing it. Only difference is some people around the main core upper team are afraid of all this shit coming back down on them. Or Candace and Dawn, who absolutely had to have given it out to begin with, but
They did, yeah.
here tell, you know, it instantly went to Nana. And Nana promised. Oh, you see how it works. But then chasing just had to have more, right? Just like the group does. And then they all pissed, cheesed themselves, the rappers, Pomeranian style, making sure the public knew that, well, whoever took the hit and it come out first, they'd all receive clout for knowing and being saints for not saying, but meanwhile, all of them are saying it openly and have been on panels for months and months and months. You know,
That's why I got shitty for people who don't realize why I got shitty about this fucking paperwork. No way that anybody's going to contact me and start telling me this tale about getting this paperwork, and basically it's delivered to your fucking door by Don Wells, and that there's abuse and neglect on this paperwork. But then you're like, oh, and on a separate piece of paper, it talks about sexual abuse. I see no receipts. No receipts. So, could Candace have gave people the paperwork? Absolutely. She could have. I don't know if she did or didn't. Right? But Nana had that paperwork.
I guess it changed the course of Nana's intended documentary too in 24.
Yeah, it's this documentary shit. Come on, y'all. If you want to make a documentary, make a freaking documentary. You don't have to treat people like shit or be fucking shady towards anyone about something that they may have or information that they have with receipts that could benefit your fucking documentary. That's been the whole fucking problem.
You know, and all that business. It's hard to tell, really.
Thank you,
But here,
Poppy.
you know, watch her go, oh, take it down, it's only hurting, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she acts like such a saint, don't she?
Uh-huh.
Weird part is this woman online has attacked, harassed, harmed intentionally other children with other traumas, clearly in the middle of abuse, with abusers.
Yeah, that's the way I want dates. For sure, Sage. I always want dates. I don't think it's illegal if the parents... Yeah, Candace gave that paperwork out. If Dawn gave Nana that paperwork, I mean, ain't shit nobody's going to do about it. For sure. You're talking about two grown adult people that thought it was funny that Dawn's old boss, there were people saying horrible things about a videotape or something of something that allegedly was going on with Dawn Wells's boss and Summer. Dawn thought that shit was funny. How could you think something like that was fucking funny? Hang on. Okay.
There's just the other fucking DCS and cost workers illegally using their jobs with this group to tamper with other courts and other cases, satelliting around all of us. She is one crooked, dirty ass.
I heard all this. Okay. Allegedly a job was lost because there was, I don't want to say this wrong, there was information about individuals that were being pulled up on a work computer. For sure. And going back to Toaster. Toaster was around. Toaster went up to the hospital when Allie was in the hospital to speak with Hunter and the family, to give them some guidance on, you know, maybe hoping to pay the cremation or whatever. And this is the thing. While some of these people were doing what these people wanted them to do, example, locals, right? If you were a local and some of these creators that was nowhere near Tennessee could get you to run around and do their bidding, go do this and see about this and drive past this person's house or whatever. The minute that these people get pissed off or you don't do what they want you to do, they will come out and fucking talk big ass smack on you. They will. For sure. Yeah, loan company.
Intentionally other children with other traumas, clearly in the middle of abuse, with abusers, just the other fucking DCS and cost workers illegally using their jobs with this group to tamper with other courts and other cases, satelliting around all of us. She is one crooked, dirty ass fucking bitch. She loves her some abusers. She had no problem sucking the balls of Dawn or Clit or Candace or the fucking asshole Andy.
Damn.
I don't want to hear her shit. I really do not.
Dang.
All this damn garbage with her and the flyers and everything. I'm just so done with them all. You have no idea. But seeing those comments and knowing what it's really about, which is Nana don't want to be investigated, supposedly fair entertainment use, whatever.
Now, see, this is what got me, because Nana's always been behind the scenes, right? You would see her in chats. She never really went on people's panels very much. I remember there was a time that Smiley went off on her. I can't remember why, though. I can't remember why Smiley went off. I mean, this was quite a few years back. Smiley got pissed and went off on Nana, but I can't remember exactly what for. Right? So she's been around. She's definitely been around. Forgot what I was going to say.
Right? I dare you, homie. Come at me. Come at me. Anyway, we'll go. We'll all show the court what you've really done. And how many children, Nana? How many times you've disseminated shit, screwed and tampered with shit, Nana?
Why?
Including other parts of Summer's investigation and fucking with feds and local elections,
Yeah.
Nana.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking sick of you, bitch. Anyway.
No, she worked for a loan company or
The
something.
weirdest part for me is knowing this, that it gets really super strange when you realize Nana just calmed her ass out of nowhere, didn't she? Right up on the 110.
Hate that. All right.
Ben Hill Road, didn't she? I mean,
Where did Nana come from? Because she got close with Candace pretty quick. Right? But then again, I mean,
granted, you got critters that do it in every high profile active case, but when you realize that Nana's surrounded by her own red dots in her family, people even recently getting charged, a whole bunch of red dots on Van Hill that, well, aren't the Hills, but Nana's crew, friends, affiliates, those they're associated with through the years, including those who may have gotten caught or been doing things I don't know, like filming little boys and shit.
Wow, Jody. Damn. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So Nana's pretty much flew under the radar, right? I mean, there are people who questioned where did she come from, right? We do that with a lot of people. There's a lot of people insert themselves into a missing child case, and you're like, how did they get here? Where did they come from, right? And so Mama Bear had a conversation with Candace. Candace was telling her places that she liked to go fish at. Well, Candace mentioned Nana for Life's family, going and fishing there, right? Nana comes into Mama Bear's comments and proceeds to say, why are you talking about me and my family? What's this got to do with Summer? This ain't got nothing to do with Summer. When in fact, if there's this phone, look, we don't know what happened to Don Wells's phone. All right. Candace said Tim Mullins brought it back to her. I do not see Candace throwing Don's phone in the fucking creek. I don't see her throwing Don's phone anywhere. And the reason I say that is because she made a comment. She never looked at Dawn's phone. Never had any reason to ever look at Dawn's phone. She wouldn't have known what was on it anyway, right? Unless Dawn said, get rid of it. But then again, even getting rid of it, Tim Mullins downloaded it, right? If Candace never looked at Dawn's phone, why would she maybe feel like there was something on it that she needed to get rid of? I don't think she got rid of that phone. I think she got rid of the phone Ernie gave her. But, like I said, of course it matters. If that phone was thrown in your dad's property where Candace would love to fish, why wouldn't you maybe get someone to look if something was allegedly on that phone? Right? And I think we all already know that Dawn and Candace just didn't play with one phone, okay? For sure.
She right up on the 110 Ben Hill Road, didn't she? I mean, granted, you got critters that do it in every high-profile active case, but when you realize that Nana's surrounded by her own red dots in her family, people even recently getting charged, a whole bunch of red dots on Van Hill that, well, aren't the Hills, but Nana's crew, friends, affiliates, those they're associated with through the years, including those who may have gotten caught or been doing things I don't know, like filming little boys and shit at hotels and prostitution.
Wow.
It might be shit like that, right?
Wow.
It gets a little weird. It
Yeah.
gets even weirder when you realize that a whole bunch of folks that Nana's affiliated with or kin to are the ones being questioned about shit in Summers. Shit.
I heard
Supposedly.
that. I did hear that.
You're going to put asterisks there. It gets even weirder when you realize Nana's people were coming into Ben Hill for years, especially during certain cycles of what seems to be some variety of predatory behavior, that they have links with properties where Fred was tearing down cameras and blinds and shit during certain cycles. Gets weirder when these folks and their friends and affiliates from Van Hill are coming into Ben Hill during these cycles, and they have absolute knowledge of the comings and goings and times and schedules of people. And that would
See, I thought it was weird when she, proudly claimed that she was hanging out with Bill Shipley. Right? Yeah, the more you know. Absolutely. The more you know. I didn't know any of this stuff. I had heard a little bit, but never heard it put quite the way that Jody's putting it. I can say that.
Be our family and Candace and Dawn. It gets even weirder when you have proof these people knew the absolute interiors and exteriors of homes and buildings in and around Van Hill, don't it, Nana?
Wow.
I can't help but feel some type of way about that, Nana.
Me neither, Jody. I just felt like something was off. Have you ever got a feeling sometimes that something is just off? Things don't make any freaking sense. I feel that way sometimes. And I kind of felt that way. Right?
And now you climbed your ass up and why on 110? And why you've been driving the bus, the narratives, the scripting,
Yes.
and all the bullshit in Summer's
agree.
case while
I agree with
protecting
that.
Dennis and Dawn.
Yeah.
Fucking with all the locals, doing shit in the background, these little YouTube weasels that have latched on everybody locally. I just can't help feel some type of way about that. Seems a little fishy to me. Yeah, it could be all blue barrel, blue dot bullshit, but man, weird you didn't latch on ever to any young people and your red dots in your family committing crimes,
Wow.
even the ones locally. You didn't try to help their survivors or victims or anything, did you? You ain't all over the newspapers commenting and online in those articles every day like you do everywhere else for years, being like, oh, bless hearts and this and that and the other, are you? No, you avoid those articles and news pieces like the plague, don't you, Nana?
It does, doesn't it, Cursed? But a distraction for what this time? A distraction for what? For sure. I'm not going to be on here much longer. Cursed, let me know when you want me to come over to your channel and we can do a live. I will gladly do that with you. I would love to. I think we could have beautiful conversation together. Right? I always wondered, everyone said it's so bad there for cell phones. These people have numerous phones. Yeah, they all do. Yeah. Most people do in that area have more than one phone, right?
You ain't coming here talking about how it's some of your people, supposedly, allegedly, being questioned by FBI and TBI or all the local agencies and around some of this shit. Right, Nana? You ain't talking about that, are you? But you and the...
So, I get what you're saying by distraction, because if these things are happening, I could see why that there would be a distractionary tactics used this is the thing. The majority, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow, Cursed. Just let me know what time. You can call me and let me know when you're ready or give me a heads up. Ooh, obsession. That's an interesting word, right? But it's not same game, new player. Nana's been around for a long time. So I don't consider her a new player. But that's just me, right?
Screw damn well fuck around on Van Hill. I'll tell you that. Ain't that strange? Maybe you keep cleansing for people for reasons now. Can't help but think that. Maybe you know something more. Maybe something's hiding in the background, you know. Can't help but feel that way. Why did you climb your ass on 110? And why have you done all this in Summer's case? Why have you done all this to all of us? And for you to not take ownership of your part and role in what's being released right now.
I agree.
You had no problem talking about all these panels for all these months. Behind the scenes, you didn't have a problem sharing, disseminating with the rest of the YouTubers all these years, did you? Nope. But things being shown are a little different. That gets quite illegal. And it might lead back to you. And maybe taking a therapy class or two won't cut it this time, right?
Yeah,
to get you out of shit. you're using illegal shit, and people misusing their jobs with, you know, the Adrians and the Jennies and the Chasings and
I've heard
the
that.
Devil Squad and all that to do to others and to tamper with courts and do all things. Maybe it just
I heard that there was a long list released in someone's Discord that had personal information. You know, that is an interesting question. Was Nana and Glenda friends before YouTube? Well, Glenda acted like that they had just met due to the Summer Wells case, right? But obviously, to me, it seemed like that, you know, Nana had been around, spoken with Glenda before. Because don't forget, Glenda's son did an interview with Ryan. Okay? Did an interview with Ryan. That was like right after Bill Shipley did. Right?
won't get your ass out of it, or those involved in this and the dissemination of those papers this time. And it might just lead right back to you. Granted, I mean, obviously, it has to lead back to C&D, but, well, either way, there's only a certain few of you. They got them and disseminated them straight to YouTube and the other creators.
Not me, Jody. I wasn't worthy of the receipts. I never got that paperwork. Never seen that paperwork. I guess I'm lucky. I guess I'm one of the lucky ones. I didn't actually see it until PG put it out.
You ain't worried about these children in the least. You had no problem hiding it either, you know, until whatever. Until people probably wouldn't cooperate with your documentaries, really, because as you can see, the dates on that shit, right? But it wasn't until later in the year in 24, you know, shit really shook. You were just fine with everybody until something around some sort of whispers about documentaries and shit didn't quite go right. I don't know. Weird money floating around, weird shit happening.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Jody's right.
You, Ryan, everybody else, the monsters, core crew, the YouTube team, right?
Yeah, that was really weird to me. And I know people who've been around Summer's case all these years absolutely had to have seen where these certain clique of creators, they were pro Andy Bernard. Don't get me wrong. I never gave a shit, you know, pro Andy or not pro Andy. But what I seen them doing was they were just trying to decimate Jody Sue. They were trying, I mean, I have to say, you know, even though me and Jody are kind of spitting spatting right now, what Jody says they did to her, things that played out in front of us, it was fucking sad. It was sad. I don't care what anybody says, right? I was never involved with anything she ever accused me of other than being in chats. She is right about some people, though. Yeah, I mean, we've seen Jody. Jody went after May May. Jody went after May May. She was like, that May May, she was friends with Ziggy, coming over trying to get me to do this and that, right? She got, Jody, the first time she got mad at me and blocked me, she was doing a live. I can't remember. It was in the middle of the night. I can't remember what she was talking about. And at the time I had, you know, hung out with, well, I don't know if I used the word hung out, with Lip Lock. And I went in Jody's chat and I said, hey, for the new year, why don't you consider making up with Lip Lock? And she was like, Renee, calm, right? Renee, calm, I know what you're trying to do. And she blocked me. So I was just messing around though. I've heard of these things, Linda. I just haven't, I kind of just put them in my back pocket, right? Just kind of put them in my back pocket.
A whole lot of what you all have done, tampering, hindering, destruction, intentional or otherwise. A whole lot of it definitely getting off the ride, kicking the zoo animals, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
You don't care about victims, especially child victims. Nana, I've watched you encourage the exploitation of children and young adults still undergoing the abuse by abusers.
What do you mean, Jody?
Traumatized, already fucked up enough for a lot by that. I've watched you and this team insert around abusers, use them to further harm children
Okay.
and women abused by them. I've watched you cheer it the fuck on Goose and Gander and all this shit, right? I've watched you, Nana, for years. A whole great deal of us know exactly who and what you are, man. You are a champion of no children or survivors or victims of any kind.
Wow.
You will absolutely encourage the further abuse, harm, or exploitation of children.
Because, see, I don't understand either. Because Nana, she's been running around and she's like, I'm going to get Don Wells. I'm going to see him in jail. But she doesn't say why. So, like I said, you go on freaking social media and you tell people, I'm going to see that man in jail. Well, people are going to question that. They're going to say, for what? Do you have proof he did something to Summer? Do you have proof he did something to the boys? Or are you going with what and how you've seen him treat your good buddy Candace, right? Do you have proof that he's done something to someone else? Right? Hey, Jack, what is up? Long time no see. Good to see you. Well, we missed you too, Jack. Imagine having to live around people who could show up where you were at any given moment. Let me tell you something that made me take a little step back from, I don't even really want to say that me and Nana for Life had a relationship. It wasn't like that. She was very nice to me, and she sent me a t-shirt of Summer with the little horse, and I always appreciated that. I always did. And I mean, she had an address on the envelope, and but it's not her name. It's not her name. She must have not wanted me to know her name. But it wasn't her name, I can tell you that right now. Right? Well, I mean, the sad thing about it, everything that's being said and shit right now doesn't have anything to do with Summer. Summer's name's not on any of that paperwork. Summer's name is not on any of that paperwork, okay?
They're traumatized all to hell and back. Even newly released from their abusers. You will do it with their abusers, just like you did Candace and Dawn, just like you did Andy, just like you do others. You'll help it.
Oh, it's okay. I'm going to say this. It's okay if you like Nana. It is. That is totally up to the individual person. To each their own. Okay? There are people right now who are mad at her for different reasons, right? For different reasons. And that's up to them also.
Just smile about it, smirk about it, and encourage it, and exploitation and illegal things released. And you encouraged the illegal releasing of paperwork before, man. That further traumatized, harmed, and was absolutely illegal and was told by other abusers not to release so they could be charged with. You encouraged recordings to be taken and disseminated and all kinds of shit. You do all the extra shit, Nana, while you pretend to be some sort of saint.
And I'm not going to sit over here and say that she did not give to her community, that she wasn't someone that stood out in the community. I don't know. I didn't freaking live there. Okay? But on more than one occasion, she reminded me of that, right? She reminded me that she gave to the community, blah, blah, blah. And, I didn't need for her to tell me that, but then who knows, right? People recording individuals and taking a shitload of screenshots of everything that they're saying on YouTube and comments or whatever, especially if they're creators. Creators create. That is why they're called creators. They create. So that was one thing that Nana asked me more than one time if I was recording her. And I said, no, because guess what? I wasn't recording her. I wasn't, not at all. Had no reason to. Had no reason to.
You participate in stalking and real crimes. You encourage and participate in going extreme real life on everyone.
And it's weird to me because this is rumor, gossip, whatever you want to call it. But that name has been mentioned in the same sentence as substances. I'm not saying that it's factual, but I know that the person who mentioned it to me, I've never known not to tell me the truth. Right? Yeah, I knew she set up that Frank Hill interview. No doubt about that in my mind. That's the first person I thought of when Ryan interviewed that Frank Hill. I just don't know how someone who allegedly lived in Tennessee their whole life didn't have an accent, right? No accent whatsoever. Oh, you talk about video cameras. They're freaking, yeah. I mean, that's been an issue since the beginning.
And that includes even the damn sheriff himself. that you're now all tampering around in local elections and going righty, you know, and all shit. Because I don't guess everybody will give y'all more and more and more, you know, anymore. And you want one friendly coming in to you that'll give you more and more and more at any cost, right?
And there ain't no fucking way that anybody is going to walk into a sheriff's office that has not spoke publicly about a little girl who went missing years prior and just have a conversation with somebody because they walked in the door, right? Tried to tell me that Lawson said something or had a reaction when Candace's name was mentioned, right? My question on that, because you know I questioned everything. Oh, he's got different addresses than Tennessee. Well, maybe he moved out of state for a while or something. Right? No, Don and Candace got cameras after Summer went missing. You got to go back and remember that that was a big falling out that they had with Benny Keys, because there were cameras hooked up. Benny said that they were set up on Don's phone, I believe. They tried to say Benny had those cameras set up where his phone would get the activation notice, I guess, if the cameras were activated. So Benny was the one who got the cameras for the property, if I remember correctly. Right? I don't know who took him down, but somebody took him down. His brother acquired an address weeks after the surge. It's a little interesting, right?
It's weird you and this little local group from the very beginning. Scott H and them watching y'all try to literally set up Sheriff Lawson for criminal shit.
Wow.
And now here we are. What are y'all afraid of? Granted, there's people in these groups afraid of all the drug shit, this shit. They got bones
That's
to pick with
true.
all the crap.
That's true.
But you, Nana, you stink differently.
Ooh.
I don't care why you ended up around one Tim. Say something there, man. It ain't right. Is it just a coincidence, though? You have far more red dots in and around you than anywhere else on Bay Hill.
Wow.
Is it a coincidence you avoid being like, bless their hearts, and oh, God love them, and da-da-da-da on news articles and shit like that? Is it a coincidence that you don't go and latch onto the victims and survivors of those you are affiliated with, that, you know, and help them? Is it a coincidence that your family, your people, were coming on to Ben Hill during certain cycles and affiliated with certain properties, and people on it that knew all of our schedule, including Dawn and Candace's and mine and Andy's and our children, is weird.
Wow, that is a big statement there. That is a big statement. Wow. Super big ass statement.
We're coming on to Ben Hill during certain cycles and affiliated with certain properties, and people on it that knew all of our schedule, including Dawn and Candace's and mine and Andy's and our children, as weird shit was occurring. Same big, all kinds of shit. Some of us can't help but wonder these days, Nana. There's something wrong with you, bitch. And I have questions. Y'all should too.
I do, Jody.
Y'all should too.
I do.
Y'all need to stop protecting this lousy fucking whore.
Wow.
There's something wrong with her. And there's something dirty, dark, and deep. She didn't come in out of nowhere. And she and hers and they're absolutely affiliated places and known, already convicted people in places that, you know, were being used to and around certain other crimes towards children of certain writings.
Mm.
It is whispered throughout the community and by others, and I'll not say how or who or when, etc., that some of the people being questioned in and around all this, they belong to Nana.
Wow.
She ain't talking about it though, right?
No. Well, I don't know, Jody. She talks to people behind the scenes. I ain't gonna know now. I'm not a creator that she contacts anymore.
This woman is no saint.
She kept coming out and having people put out this audio of her and Don Wells having words with each other. I wanted to know, where was the audio of her and Candace having a conversation together? She told me that that wasn't to be put out on YouTube. Right? No, that's Jinkies. But yeah, she's one of the Christmas tree ladies. Right? No, that's when she got shitty with me. That's when she didn't like me no more. Is when I start questioning shit. Right? You don't have to be sorry, Sipsy. You do not have to be sorry. Now, so, I mean, if you guys look at the dates, these dates are weird. Dawn and Candace signed over the boys in 2024, but I don't know the month. Did somebody tell me? Somebody told me, right? I mean, you just got to kind of, the initial paperwork for the boys with the essay on it, it does not have a date on this paperwork. And why is that paperwork from Nashville, right? Wouldn't that have been from somewhere else? But that paperwork that has that on there, that is just a paperwork for the perpetrator to request a formal file review. So, like I said, it was kind of strange that Don filled his out before Candace did. Why didn't they just do it together? I mean, for real. Okay, we have Jody's link is in the description. Benny Keys' link is in the description. You can find the orders of dismissal. I want to thank Flies for that. Thank you, Flies, for helping me today. For sure. But this is what Don had to say, right? He said, let's be clear. We were told to sign the boys to the state. We did not do it willfully. We did not cut a deal. We have been counseled to allow the state of Tennessee to do what the law states. We cannot speak about the boys, but they really want the oldest to come home. And we expect him any day now. This is all about Summer. Our boys have suffered beyond words. They lost everything. Their church, pastor, friends, home, pets, teachers, family, and so much more. I totally agree with that. The world may have witnessed our emotional collapse after Summer disappeared, but vindication of no abuse and neglect is now legally declared. So no, we did not toss out our boys. What we signed was based on a case that has been proven as invalid. So why can't you fight to get the boys back then, right? Thank you, Lorianne. I don't know. But then again, nothing we've ever looked at in Summer's case has ever made any freaking sense. So this is the notice of withdrawal. April 21st. Comes now responded, State of Tennessee Department of Children's Services, herein referred to as the department, by and through cancel to find this notice of withdrawal and motion to dismiss the underlying case and the pending appeal filed before this court. As a basis for the motion, the department has withdrawn the substantiation of child abuse or neglect against the appellant. As appellant is no longer classified as a perpetrator of the abuse and neglect, the appeal of substantiation is moot and should be dismissed. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but what this says to me is they signed the boys over. There was no reason at all for the boys were signed over. They were in danger no longer. This is the order of dismissal. An appeal was filed February 13, 2024. This is Dawn's Department of DCS. They requested an administrative hearing concerning his substantiation for child abuse neglect regarding the investigation number, which is the same as Candace's. An acknowledgement letter was issued February 25th, 2025. So they had a hearing date. It was scheduled for May 13th, 2025. On April 21st, the department filed an appellant and motion to dismiss. Basically saying the same thing that I just read. Based on the above findings and the applicable state statutes and Department of Child Protection policies, the classification established by CPS that appellant is the substantiated perpetrator in a validated case of child abuse or child neglect is withdrawn. They had to change it from substantiated to non-substantiated. right here it says, Dawn wanted them absolutely to say that this is what gets me. That whole time, Dawn wasn't supposed to be around children, right? Is that why he left? Where was he when Candace was with his daughter? Remember his probation officer called and said, get back here? This is all I'm going to say about the oldest boy. He is going to be 18. And if no one has taken him under their wing to help guide him, throughout his formative years, I can see him going back to Dawn and Candace. Which I'm sure somewhere in these children's lives that at some point they're going to want to see their mom and dad. It could be years down the road. But all three of those boys were old enough to know who Dawn and Candace were. Right? But I don't know. I am not a mean-spirited person. And like I said, there were things that I had in my back pocket that I had heard talk about, Nana or whatever. I know personally, I was just, I got really frustrated with the fact that for years I sat here and, basically I feel was only contacted to push a narrative. To push a narrative. I was a creator, just like many other creators that I'm sure that she contacted. I have never had a conversation with Nana for Life where I called her by her government name or I told her things that I had heard, that were being said about her. I never did that. I'm really not into doing things like that. I know I can have my own feelings about things without having to be a big bitch and call people names or anything like that, right? Well, I have to agree, Kirst. I have to agree. I mean, this is what I don't support. I don't support some of these individuals, creators, subs, whatever, that have, came out here and been like, oh, yeah, I'm going to try to adopt this kid. And the only reason that they're talking about trying to adopt him is because they know that they can use him for content. And I don't want to see that happen at all. I mean, I even think of Dawn and Candace using him in some way, shape, or form, to make themselves look better, right? But that's just me. That is just me. But I didn't say some things because I want to save them for when me and Curse go live tomorrow. Let me go ahead and real quickly here. I'm going to grab your link. Let me grab your link, lady. Okay. I'm glad your name's in that link. I don't have to write it. Yeah, that's what everybody wants to know. What the boys seen on the 15th. So, I don't know. He already said he wanted a YouTube channel. For real. I don't think I would have the tools to help them. I could keep them safe. Yeah, I agree. I mean, but we don't know. We don't, you guys, honestly, we do not know anything about the boys except for what other people have said, right? That is it. Yeah, that's the way I feel about it. I do tend to believe what is being said about the boys, and you know, they're hanging out and they're playing their games and all that other stuff. I tend to agree with, I tend to see that. I do believe what Lawson said, that where the boys said they last seen Summer. I do believe that. Right? But I'm sure people are curious and want to know because, you know, Jody had made a statement that the boys didn't seem like they were looking for Summer, right? Yeah, I know, Poppy. So, I don't know. Yes, Lorianne. Cursed is being kind enough to wait till tomorrow since I've been on here for 3 hours. So thank you for that, Cursed, because I am getting my butt off here. I am. Now, like I said, I'm not real good at editing. I am going to privatize this long enough for me to edit that paperwork out. And I want to apologize again for that. Anybody who knows me, I just wasn't thinking when I showed it. You know, it didn't cross my mind about showing that. And I do apologize for that. And I definitely will take it out. So that's the first thing I'm going to do when I get off here. I'm going to privatize the live and I'm going to edit that paperwork out. Now, there are many people who have that paperwork if you feel like you need to look at it. Like I said, basically what it was a paper to show what evidence substantiated or whatever that they had, that they were investigating. And it was a paperwork for the perpetrator that they were investigating to have a file review. So that actually wasn't even a paper, I don't think, to even, it was just a review of the file itself, to have them re-review it. So that's what I've seen anyway. I could be wrong. You know, I am wrong sometimes. I am not perfect at all. I'm not. But I do appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. It freaking means a lot. It really does. I appreciate everybody who's been so cool in chat. You guys have been respectful toward each other. That is always a plus. I appreciate that so much. Poppy, thank you so much. You hang in there with me. I appreciate that. Flies, thank you for always being supportive. I appreciate you. May May, I love you. I do. I love May May. You removed your comments from yesterday. You don't have, don't remove your comments from when you're over here, Sage. You don't have to do that. Hey, sometimes I don't think about stuff either. I really don't. Sometimes you kind of get tunnel vision and poof, poof, poof. You know, that happens. So, but don't forget me tomorrow, Cursed. I'm excited to come over and hang out and have a conversation for real. Thank you, Mr. A. I have to say that. He'll get jelly if I don't. He'll be like, you don't like me no more. H. Davis, I'm going to go listen to your song. We don't know exactly what time yet, Lori Ann. For sure. I will try to put it in my comments. I'll post it on my community wall as soon as we know what time and stuff. For sure. And thank you for inviting me, Cursed. That means a lot. For sure. Oh, when you asked to see the paper? Hey, I asked to see it only because I wanted to see that receipt. And I was not worthy enough to actually see the receipt. And I'm good with that. Even though I've said it more than once. I'm not worthy. No, I've never been, you know, you can ask most people who have talked about Summer or most people in the Summer Wells community, Summer's Army, whatever they want to call themselves. They just, I don't know why they don't like me. They don't like me. Right? Hurts my feelers. It really doesn't hurt my feelings, but Curse likes me, so I'm going to talk to her tomorrow. My nephew came back to our family after he was grown. Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot. For real. Yeah, Poppy does. Flies and Poppy. Mr. A, he comes in and then he goes to bed, I think so. Truth don't get much attention, I guess. That's a great way to put that. It really is. Really, really. Okay, well, you guys be you, do you. And if you got to get a little feisty, go right ahead and do it. There ain't nothing wrong with it. Stand up for yourself. For real. But I recommend picking your battles. Because sometimes some of these battles out here on YouTube, Lord have mercy. Definitely pick your battles for real. Make sure they're worth fighting. Don't ever overexert yourself with something that in the end, you just wasted your breath. I'm just saying. But I do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I will catch you guys later. I am sending big time prayers out here. I know a lot of people need them, and I'm sending them right now. And but my ass is falling asleep, so I'm getting off here. Peace out, you guys. Thanks for hanging, for real. Justice for Summer Wells. Justice for Summer. And FYI, if you are someone who has inserted yourself into the case of a missing child, expect for people to do a little research on you and see what you're all about, right? I guess it's just not going in a positive direction for Nana right now. I'm just saying. So, but don't be showing her no hate because of me. All right? For real. You can like her or not like her. Totally up to you. But wow, Jody Sue really blew my mind with some of the stuff she said. So, like I said, links are in the description. Go check them out. I appreciate you guys. Have a great night. I will catch you later. Peace out, guys. Thank you.